In this video, I've got a 5-volt DC source in series with a red LED, in series with a 150 ohm resistor, in series with a 1 mega ohm potentiometer. Pins 1 and 2 is on my circuit, and pin 3 is basically just floating. Now, currently my circuit is on, but what we do not know is whether or not the LED is on. Now, if the resistance across pins 1 and 2 is 0 ohms, then I have about 0 volts. That means I'm gonna have a voltage across my LED of about 2 volts and a voltage across my resistor of about 3 volts. That means I now have my maximum current. Three volts divided by 150 ohms, that gives me a maximum current of 20 milliamps. Now, if I decided to put the full value of my potentiometer across my pins 1 and 2, my resistance when I adjust my potentiometer across pins 1 and 2 is now 1 mega ohm. Now I will have 1.5 volts across my LED, and about 0 volts across my resistor, and about 3.5 volts across pins 1 and pin 2. Now, I know that seems kind of odd. I mean, if I've got 0 volts here, okay, but I've got 1.5 volts here and I've got 3.5 volts here, obviously I got some current still flowing through my circuit. That means that this LED is not completely off. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. What you got here on the LED is what's called a threshold voltage. Okay, and for the red 2-volt LED, the threshold voltage, I believe, is somewhere between 1.3 and 1.5. Some of them is about 1.4. All right. But for all intents and purposes, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 3.5 volts by 1 mega ohm. So the current will be I equals 3.5 microamps. So when I put 1 mega ohm here, I'm going to have 1.5 volts here, approximately 0 volts here, right? 3.5 volts here, and my circuit current is now 3.5 microamps. And here's my circuit. You see on my power supply, it's reading 5.1 volts. Okay. My LED, for all intents and purposes, is off. Now the camera cannot pick this up, but I can see a very, very, very faint glow inside the LED. It's a very, very faint red glow. Okay. Now my LED, right, is really supposed to be off. And for all intents and purposes, it's off. But I can see a faint glow. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to set my multimeter up, and I'm going to be reading the voltages. Now, the voltage across my potentiometer first. I'm getting 3.6 volts. Okay. The voltage across my resistor, and it's so small, the meter is reading 0.001 volts. And the voltage across my LED, 1.52 volts. All right. Now, the 1.52 volts, I've already said, is the threshold voltage. It's a very small amount of current flowing through the circuit. And the LED is very sensitive and it picks up that small 3.5 microamps. Okay, but if you notice right, my resistor is pretty much reading 0 volts, meaning it's pretty much 0 amps. Now I'm going to turn on my LED maximum. I'm going to turn my potentiometer with my screwdriver to the right. Now, my voltage supply is reading 0.02 amps, as it should. Now, I'm going to read the voltages again. Across my potentiometer, 0 volts, 0.001 volts. Let's see that again. .005 volts. Across my resistor, 3 volts. And across my LED, I'm getting 2 volts. Okay, now I'm gonna turn my LED down to somewhere between 0 volts, 0 amps, and 20 milliamps. Now I'm going to take a reading. Across my potentiometer, I'm reading 1.98 volts. Across my resistor, 1.18 volts. And my LED, 1.95 volts. So you see that the potentiometer, it can be used as a switch basically, and a way to control the voltages and currents throughout the circuit. Now my LED, for all intents and purposes, is off. Now it's on to maximum. And this brings me to the end of the video. Subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for your attention.